Do. Can anyone see me? Testing. Oh, I'm on the screen. Let's see. Testing, testing, testing. Yay! Okay, I think that everyone can hear and see me now. Oh, that is way more complicated than I thought it would be. Oh, yay! Welcome, guys, to the live stream. I'm just gonna post on Instagram that I finally got it going so people can join in. I don't do well with technology. Okay, if you guys have any issues like with lag, anything like that, just let me know in the chat here. Cool, awesome. I'm excited to do this. So basically the way it's going to work is I'm going to be taking questions in the chat. So if you guys have questions as we go, feel free to just pop in there and ask them. And we are also, in the meantime, between questions, going to be looking at some of the citizen science projects on Zooniverse. So Zooniverse is just this website that actually catalogs a lot of different biology projects where there's camera traps or behavior ID needed, and like people have thousands and thousands of pictures they need to get looked at, like grad students and stuff, so they actually use citizen science in order to make it so that anyone can contribute. And it's really cool because it lets you kind of get some like practice doing wildlife ID. Like we did this in my live stream last week, and it's really good for people who are just practicing like what you would do as a wildlife biologist. So I didn't pick yet what we are going to do for projects, but I thought I'd kind of just like check out a few. There was a few really fun ones that we did last time. Oh, there was a really good bald eagle one I liked, but then there's also like Amazon, Wildcam. Different states have different ones. So let's see. Maybe we'll start. I'm trying to find that bald eagle one. That one was really cool. So we also did some of the African ones last time, and those were really hard because I've never been to Africa. Well, I have, but not to like a safari. So I struggled a bit with that one. So maybe we'll check out. This one looks kind of fun. Botswana and South Africa. Maybe we'll start with that, and then we could check some other ones. Thank you, Brandon, for the donation. That's very nice. And you donated last time too, and it like made my day. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's start out here. Okay, and so with these camera traps, I don't know a lot of them. So if you guys know the answers to what some of the wildlife are or have like a good idea, then leave it in the chat, and then that will help me because I don't know a lot of these. So let's just get this set up here. I went to Africa a few years ago, but I went to Morocco, so I found it was like quite different culturally and like the environment as like a lot of the rest of Africa, and I thought it was really cool. It was really beautiful, and I want to go back and see more for sure. Okay. So, the way that wildlife camera traps work, basically, if you haven't already seen, they are pretty much these cameras that are set up to trigger when there's motion. So if an animal walks past the camera, then it triggers it and takes a picture. And so those go pretty much like all the time. And then the researcher goes and grabs the like SD card or whatever, and then goes through all the times that the motion camera was triggered, and then like is able to identify what animal it is. So let's just edit this a bit so you guys can see the picture okay. I don't know if that worked. Okay. So the thing is too with a lot of, oh, Chloe, thank you for the $2. That's so nice. Yay, that makes me happy. Okay. So what was I saying? I'm getting distracted. Okay, so the way that these camera trap works is a lot of them don't really have anything on the camera. So we also can say there's nothing, or we can say like there's a tiny animal that we don't see. So I'm going to try to make it as big as possible for you guys so that you'll be able to see. So like for example, let's see. I'm just trying to make it big screen here. Just give me one sec. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting to a animal page here. Just making sure that that works. Okay, so for example, this is like the first one we would start. So we see like a part of an animal, and then we kind of have to identify with what we're given, what animal it is. And so since this is African ones, it could be a little difficult. And then also on the side here, we have like a little field guide that helps us kind of pick some things. So this looks a lot like the ones that I did last week. So I think this guy is an oryx. Yeah. So, okay, here's a good example. Basically, it shows a picture of the animal and some of like the defining features, and then you have to like decide if that's the animal that's on the screen or not. Um, I feel like we're playing a game of Find Waldo. It kind of is like Where's Waldo? Like it can be difficult, especially when it comes to like the small mammals, the reptiles, and some of the really small animals that get picked up by the camera, but you can't actually see them, or a bird flies past, or a leaf flies past, or something like that. So it can be a little tough. But like, okay, so here's our first one. It is an oryx. So we also have a few options of what basically behaviors that we're seeing. So an example here is how many animals. I hope you guys can see these little questions here. I'm just gonna wait for the stream to catch up just to make sure. But basically it says like how many animals do we see on the photo, what behaviors do you see, and are there any young present? And basically the whole point of those is to help the researcher. So if there is young present, it's going to help to flag that for the researcher if they were like looking for young oryxes and studying their behavior. So it helps a lot for science actually to do these, and you guys can do these too at home, like outside of the stream. So I'm just going to copy it into the chat here. Is the website for if you want to do it on your own. So, okay, for our example here, we have, it looks like two because we see one here, one kind of on the side. And then what behaviors do you see? So it can be kind of difficult to tell behavior sometimes, but since its leg here is kind of bent, it looks like it's walking. So moving, and then I don't see any young present, so no. And then we hit identify, done, and then it switches to another one. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Wasn't there an AI made for this kind of stuff, like with elephants? Could that be used for stuff like this? Yeah, totally. I think a lot of camera trap researchers have trouble getting the budget to like create AIs and stuff like that. Like I know when I was doing camera traps, like I would have no idea where to start with that, but where computer science and wildlife biology mix, there's a lot of really cool ideas for stuff that you can do. I haven't heard of the elephant one specifically, but I'm not surprised because you can totally do that with computer science and save so much time in research. So it's really interesting. And also creating like the citizen science side of things is cool because then other people get a chance to kind of experience what it's like to be a wildlife biologist, get some practice and ID. But there's definitely like some quality control issues with this. Like some people can just be incorrect and like mark a lot of incorrect stuff. But you know, it's a good start at least. It still probably gets reviewed by like quite a few people. So This one, oh shoot, you can't really see the far side on the screen. There's actually another oryx, but I don't see it on the screen because it kind of, on the stream because it kind of cuts off. Let me just try something real quick. I hope I'm not going to screw this up. So, oh. Okay, I think I did it. This is all new to me, all this streaming stuff. Okay, so you should be able to see now the animal that's on the far left-hand side of the screen. And it looks like another oryx. So the same animals we saw before. So we can mark that. And then we just see one here. And you can't even tell what its behavior is. It's just a side of its head. So we'll see if we can't. Check that, and then no young present. Oh, we have to check it. So let's just say resting. Done. Okay, here's a hard one. So this one, I don't know. Like sometimes you get some really weird pictures in your camera traps. And I was talking about it in the last stream that I did, excuse me, but I have gotten like people doing like witchcraft ceremonies, like walking past on some of my camera traps. And I've gotten like people mooning my camera and like all sorts of weird things. So you can't always rely on these cameras because they sometimes get you some weird stuff. So does anyone have any guesses of what this one is? Let me know in the chat box if you know. Looks like it's some sort of like mane or hair or something like that. Maybe I'll check out some of the stuff in the field guide to see if we can answer it this way. So, what could it be? I'm looking for things that might have like long hair. What does this guy look like? Oh, that's definitely not it. Aardvark, ant bear. There's some of these animals I never even heard of. If you guys have any guesses, let me know. Oh, let's check wildebeest. I don't know if its hair is long enough to be the wildebeest because this picture is just like super long hair. Let's keep looking. Hartebeest. It's not that. We already checked that one. Hyena. Let's check the hyena pictures and see. Oh, that's actually quite a good guess. That does look pretty similar. I didn't realize hyenas have such long hair. Oh, okay, distinguished from other types of hyenas by plain dark coat and very shaggy fur. So that's definitely some shaggy fur. So I think you are onto something here. I think that might be my best guess because this picture especially really looks like the picture we're seeing. Yeah, I think given the information that we have, that's probably our best guess. So let's go with that. We have one hyena. And we can't really tell what it's doing. Oh, wait, I just saw something. There's a horn right here. Is that a horn or an ear? Oh, that might actually be an ear. Let me just check a few more things just to be sure. Let's check some of these horns to see if maybe there could be some horned animals that are similar. As you guys enter the stream, leave a comment in the chat so I could know that you guys are here. And also feel free to ask questions too. I don't know the height of the camera. That's a really good question, and that would really help. It doesn't say, but yeah, that's actually something we would consider if we were researchers, is like what the height of the camera is and what triggers it. Okay, so actually I just realized there's some other photos here, and I'm looking, and I can't tell if that's a horn or an ear. but it does look a little bit like shorter fur on the side. So I think let's just check a few more things here. If I go back, clear filters. Let's check these kind of horns. Definitely not an ostrich. What does this guy look like? I don't think it's this guy either. This is a hard one. What kind of softwares do you use for camera trap data analysis? That depends. Some people have the budget to create these kind of like portals so that citizen scientists can work on it. So this one is through the site Zooniverse, but I always just used photos because it gives you an SD camera like output. So when you go and collect the camera traps, you actually just get a card you can stick into your computer. So you don't need any special things, but I did used to record it into an Excel spreadsheet so that I could somehow catalog it. So that was the simple side, but you can also do like some really advanced software uses of it. And I mean, you could go a lot of different places, especially if you're bringing a lot of citizen science into it. Also, is that a shadow and not a horn? I think it is a horn because I can see it in these other photos too. So let me just finish this one. So, okay, I'm not really sure. I think our best, and that could be an ear. I think our best bet, just to kind of move it along, is to pick this guy because I think that's kind of as good as it's going to get. And it looks like it's kind of just standing. And we'll move on. Otherwise, we'll just keep being stuck on this forever. So for the people who already saw a little bit early in the stream, you might already have recognized this one. I'll let you think about it for a minute while I can't really see all the suggestions, but I'll let you think about it while I answer one of the questions. So what are your reasons for being vegan? So I went vegetarian when I was like 11, and I always loved animals, and so when I connected that like meat was an animal, then I was like, I don't want to eat an animal. I remember the first time I went to like a burger place and there was like a slaughterhouse across the street, and I connected that. So it was always for like kind of animal rights reasons. And then the reason why I went vegan was because I realized that the dairy industry was just as bad as the meat industry, and so I didn't want to selectively be caring about animals, so I wanted to go all the way. And I stuck with it because the health benefits were so much. I ran a half marathon that year when I was never a runner because I had like so much energy. So there's a lot of benefits. So those are some of the reasons why I went vegan. I'm using a wild ID software for leopard and tiger flanks matching, which is very useful for naturally marked animals. That's really interesting because I used to try to do a bit of that, because the issue with camera traps too can be that you don't know if you're seeing the same animals each time, and that's going to make a difference in your study results, because if you keep seeing one animal like 20 times, it might give the impression that there's a bunch of that animal there, but when really it's just one animal that's just going by a bunch of times. So when you have like distinctive stripes or something like that, you can actually like figure out if it's the same animal or not. So I've always struggled with that. So that's good to know that there's actually like software that could detect like the leopard and the tiger spots and stripes to see if it's the same animal. So that's pretty cool. It's always changing and improving. So if you guys didn't already guess it, it's this guy, the oryx. And so I just see, oh, I didn't even realize you can do the 3 pictures. Okay, so it's moving. It's not really eating or doing anything special, just moving. And I don't see any young, so done. Let's see what we get next. Ooh, oh my god, this is the first time I've gotten this guy. I think you guys know what it is. This is exciting. Normally I only get like the prey animals, not any predators, so I'm hoping maybe next we'll get like a lion or something like that. Cool. Okay, so this guy has some crazy cool stripes. So what's he doing? It looks like or she. Looks like she's just slowly walking and feeding. So, zebras. This is an emu. Don't make me double think myself. Is there another animal that looks exactly like a zebra? Zebras are white with dark stripes, a thick bristly mane, and a black tasseled tail. Oh god, I didn't even realize there's different kinds. The Cape Mountain zebra and the plain zebra look similar. The mountain zebra is slightly smaller with a thick dewlap under their necks, bigger ears, and no shadow stripes between the gray stripes. Oh, that's a good one because you can actually see there's some little light gray stripes between the big ones. Cool. One, and it's kind of like eating, I guess. Eating and moving, so we can mark both. And no young. Done. We'll do a few more this one, and then maybe we'll check out the other one. Okay, here's one I haven't gotten yet. Let's zoom into him a bit. Does anyone know what this one is? Off the top of their head. I'm going to look at a few, but if you guys know it, let me know in the chat box. I'm actually somewhat saddened to learn about zebra behavior. They could be so cruel. I didn't know that. How so? I'm gonna look that up. A little bit about zebra behavior. Because I don't really know too much about zebras actually. I know some people have captive ones. Oh, so zebras are very courageous animals, not afraid to confront predators. They have a powerful kick. They are not people friendly and should not be domesticated. Don't domesticate any zebras. Okay, let's check out what a few of these could be. So, let's see. Pattern, color, kind of like tan. This one doesn't have any horns. I mean, it looks like a deer, but it's Africa, so I don't know if they have deers. What's this guy look like? Oh, this looks similar. A petite antelope, a steenbok. Okay, so this is a contender, a potential one. Beth, you didn't miss anything. We're still going strong. We're just identifying some animals from camera traps and answering questions. So if you guys have questions, you can leave them in the chat box and also help me with some of these animals because I don't know all of them. So, okay, let's just check some of these other ones. Definitely not that one. What does an impala look like? Okay. So this one doesn't have horns, but could be a female. The tail almost looks right, but the pattern and the coloring doesn't look the same. I mean, it does have a white belly, and then this one in the picture has a white belly. But the impalas have the black-tipped ears, and I don't see any black-tipped ears in the picture. Ooh, it's kind of a toss-up between these two. What are some of these other ones? Oh, okay, it's definitely not this one. It's way too small. Springbok? No, it's not that one. Okay, I'm gonna have to guess. I think it looks a little bit more like this one. Because this one has a white belly. It's quite small. Can't really see its tail. I think I'm gonna have to just go with this one. It's the best guess I got. And sometimes it is a guess. So it is walking. No young, and there's just one animal. Okay, does anyone know what this one is? Let me know in the chat. I'll answer a question. Hi, Tamarine. JJJJ asks, what are the easiest science majors in college? I don't think there's any easy ones, but I think it depends on what your skills are. Like, if you are better at like math, like physics can be easier for you, but if you're better at like the natural sciences, like biology and ecology, then probably like an environmental science major is the easiest. But they're not all really easy because you have to take such hard classes for them. But I'd say like environmental science is probably one of the easier ones, sort of. But that's not even giving it credit because like that can be a really hard major too. I have a friend who wants to be a marine biologist. Would the info you've previously given about being a wildlife biologist apply to being a marine biologist too? Yeah, it's very similar. And I always could never decide if I wanted to do marine work or if I wanted to do terrestrial biology. And so I actually went to Scripps Institute of Oceanography. And so they are like a marine college. So actually, most of my classes were in marine biology. But I decided to just go for the ecology major because the ecology major would allow me to do both marine and terrestrial work. So a lot of the same advice applies, especially like the field work advice, because marine field work and terrestrial field work, like while they are different things, of course, being on like a ship or an island instead of like in the rainforest, they are very similar in like the work-life balance and like how you would find jobs like that and stuff. So definitely both would apply. I'm going into college soon for a zoology degree. What jobs do you think that will get me? Zoology degree is really similar to like a wildlife biology degree. So it's not so much what the degree will get you, it's like what your experience is in and like how competitive you are for different science jobs. So with a zoology degree, you can like it's a good base for getting a lot of the wildlife jobs. You know, even like what we're doing, like looking at these camera traps, like there's jobs of people who do stuff like that and study animal behavior. So that's probably what it will like what I would shoot for if that's what you're interested in with a zoology degree. But you're going to need to have some sort of experience outside of your degree to get a job like this. So through like volunteer work or internships. Good questions. Okay, so this guy is what we saw earlier, an oryx. And I think this is going to be the last one I'm going to do. And then let's check out another Zooniverse thing. So let's see, what is his behavior? So it looks like he's eating. So let's check that. No young present. Okay, let's find another project. I think I want to do the bald eagle one. I think this is the same bald eagle one that I saw last time. So let's do this one. I remember this one being really fun. Okay, we're starting off with a hard one. I don't even know. What do you think that looks like to you guys? To me, it kind of looks like the tip of a coyote tail. What do you think? Okay, questions. Do you think a zoology degree would help me get a job for wildlife conservation in northern Canada? Yep, same. Yeah, definitely. Like I worked with some people with like zoology and wildlife biology degrees. For working in northern Canada, just make sure you have some fieldwork experience because it can be a really harsh environment to work in. So they'll want to see that you have like been out in the field, even if it's like you're a hunter or something like that. Like they need to know you're able to handle that kind of environment. For getting a good job in environmentalism, is an internship important? Yes, it's like probably one of the most important things you could do because outside of academia, experience is everything in this field. Book recommendation: No Beast So Fierce, The Terrifying True Story of the Tiger, the Champawat Tiger. Sweet. I'm going to add that to my Goodreads list. But what is the scope of BSc in botany biotechnology? I don't know if you're asking like botany and biotechnology because I don't know what botany biotechnology is, but for botany, Honestly, I'm not super familiar with either of those majors, so I can't give you a super good answer to that. I know botany is like a very specialized BSc to get. Biotechnology is not really my realm, but that one's going to have like a lot more molecular biology than like ecology has. Your goal is to work in Northern Canada, got to push back against this climate change issue. Totally. And I find that like Northern Canada is the front lines of wildlife conservation right now because there is so many threats to our ecosystems in Northern Canada that we really need people like you up north, like, making sure that this work that's being done, these pipelines aren't going to be impacting wildlife. So it's a good goal to have. Okay, so no one really said. Oh, all is asking is if you can see snow. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. What is in this image? I think my best guess is like this is the tail of a coyote. I think that's what it is. So let's say mammal. Coyote. These are really bad pictures. Okay, and it looks, can't really tell what it's doing. Looks like it's just standing. Done. Let's see what we got next. Okay, well, I don't see anything on this camera trap. Can you guys see anything? I don't think there's anything here. Welcome, Ed. You're not late. I can still stream for a little bit longer, and then I have a meetup at noon that I'm going to, so that'll be fun. So I don't see anything on this one. So I'm thinking, no, we don't see any snow. And I don't think I see any animals. Done. Yeah, this is the same. I don't see any. Maybe this wasn't the bald eagle one that I was doing earlier. I think I'm going to switch to another one because the one I saw was much different. Ooh. It's exciting. There's something happening. Looks like a field. We'll need to verify. Yeah, it does look like a field. Might start up in Alaska since a lot of the animals are not scared of humans. Yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing. It's sad. A lot of the animals really, they either like have no fear because they've been habituated or they just don't see humans that much. Do you believe wildlife such as plants and animals will increase or decrease in the next few years due to humans? Well, a few years is not that long of a time, but the trend right now is a decrease in biodiversity and a decrease in most wildlife populations. But of course, if you look at like, coyotes or seals or some of the more resilient species, there's not really much of an influence to those guys as much as there is to some of the really endemic species that are being pretty much wiped out by our human activity. So generally decreasing. Okay, so we just got a bunch of birds here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch to another one. I'm going to try to find that eagle one. There's an eagle in this picture, but there was one in Montana that had the coolest animals. Let me see some of the other options here. Are you aware of the 5G rollout's threat to wildlife and human health? It's insane. I know nothing about that. I gotta research that some more. Is it because of like the new towers being put in, like being a collision risk, or I'm curious. I don't know anything about that. Let's see. Burrowing owls. Plants of Arkansas. Belugas. That's kind of cool. Canid camera, New York. E-mammal. Grouses. Grouses terrify me. Yeah, I have social media. I'm going to put my Instagram handle. So if you guys have more questions, you can DM me. I'm not super great at answering DMs because I get so many, but like it's kind of the best shot, I guess, of getting in contact with me. And also comments. I like read all my comments and stuff, so that helps, but it's hard to find the time to respond to DMs, but I'll try. I promise. Seabirds. Well, I don't want to do any birds because Adventure Ed is in the chat section and he is a bird expert and he's going to judge my knowledge of birds. I'm just kidding. Okay, well should we try Peruvian Amazon? I think that could be fun. Yeah, let's try Peruvian Amazon. Oh, is it not working? Get started. There we go. Okay, well, this is nothing. Christina, what's your favorite system in animals? What do you mean by system? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh my god, these photos are awful. I mean, like, you can't really even see anything. Oh, God, there is something back there. There's just no way of knowing what that is. It's just a blur. What if there's an option that's like, there is something, but I don't know. Unknown, maybe? I mean, I think I'm just gonna have to say nothing, because I can't tell what that is. I don't think anyone's gonna be able to tell what that is. Mating system. Yeah, you did butcher that joke. Yeah, Adventure Ed's the only other wildlife biologist I know on YouTube, so check out his channel. He made a video that's like best majors, and not that many people viewed it, but I think it was probably one of the most useful videos that you have, so I think we should send more views his way. Okay. I also don't see anything here. A lot of these are just like empty ones, which is realistic. I think, okay, if it's not a joke, I think the weirdest / the most interesting mating by animals is wolves. I don't know if you know anything about wolf mating, but it's pretty bizarre and I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, it was extremely confusing when I first saw what was happening. I don't want to get demonetized. Do you think that humans will eventually realize that we need nature rather than destroy it before it becomes too late? I hope so. I really hope so. I don't think people really realize it right now because we still have so much of it. And I think when we start having way less nature and wildlife and wild species because we start losing them, people are going to realize what we did. But then it might be too late by then. But I'm trying to be more hopeful. Since I made that video that everyone said was really sad and depressing and made them cry, my 2050 video, I'm trying to be more optimistic because I realized that I can't inspire people to make a change when I'm being like depressing and like pessimistic about what the future is. Like, I really need to think that we can make a difference. Otherwise, I don't think anyone's going to change. So, okay. I also can't tell what this one is. If all these are bad like this, then I might skip to another project. Yeah, okay. I don't really like this one. I'm going to go do a different project. You know, that maybe we should just go back to the wildlife watching with the kills. Squirrel mapper. Let's do the Canid camera, the New York one. Cool. These ones might be familiar if you're in North America. Cool. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, what in the world is that? What? Is that even what we're supposed to be looking at? Is that a... I have no idea what that is. Let's see what our options is. Does anyone know what that is? Leave it in the comments. I think the best way to make a change is to take what Steve Irwin did. He made so much change in Australia even after his death. Having more people like him might change our view for the better. Yeah, I think so. And the reason why, like, Steve Irwin, I think made people care so much about animals is that, like, he showed, like, all the really cool things about animals and all the exciting stuff, and, like, you know, got people, like, really excited and interested. And I think the way you get people interested is through, like, a positive attitude and, like, you know, bringing up, like, kind of the fun side of things, so that people who aren't wanting to be wildlife biologists can still enjoy animals without having to be like, oh, I want to get a career in wildlife biology. And I think that that's something I think about a lot too, because I think my channel starts to get more focused on, like, how to get a career in wildlife biology, which is important, especially because a lot of you guys want to be wildlife biologists. But I also want to bring in people who might not also want a career in wildlife biology, because if the whole point is to help animals, we need to bring in, like, everyone, not just, like, wildlife biologists, because wildlife biologists already care about animals. We want to bring in people who might not care as much so that they can care. But hi, future zoologist. I love your videos. Oh, there's another YouTuber to follow if you guys go to her page. Yeah, that's kind of what Coyote Peterson is doing. I really like his videos. Yeah, and Brave Wilderness, same guy. The problem with those kinds of videos is they require sometimes, like, he has such a big production value, and, like, I struggle with the fact that I don't want to disturb animals by, like, interacting with them just so I could get, like, YouTube views. And that, like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what he does, because I'm pretty sure, I haven't really watched a lot of his videos, but I'm sure that he does things, like, very ethically. But, like, personally, I don't have a lot of videos focused around, like, finding the animals and then, like, showing them to you guys. So I struggle to get people interested in wildlife without, like, actually having the animal, like, holding it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of a hard middle place to be in. You got Christina brainstorming. Hell yeah. Steve Irwin made me want to be a wildlife or a zoologist. Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure that had some. Steve Irwin had some inspiration on me too. So, yeah. I don't know who really made me. I didn't have one person, like, who made me want to be a wildlife biologist. But I remember when I started out, Jane Goodall had a really good impact on me. Like, I really thought Jane Goodall was really inspirational, because I related to her a lot more than I did, like, Steve Irwin. And I remember when I went, I'm going to go back to the camera trapping soon, but I remember when I went to the Amazon for the first time. It was my first wildlife job, my first time doing, like, any sort of major field work, and it was really inspirational to read Jane Goodall's books when I was there. And also, oh my god, I'm blanking on her name, Gorillas in the Mist, the lady who wrote Gorillas in the Mist, who was murdered. I read her books when I was in the Amazon, and it really felt like it's not me alone doing this. Like, there was so many other, like, inspirational biologists out there who, like, have experienced what I've experienced and I can relate to. So it's always good to have people like that out there. Okay, I don't know what this is. Like, this is just some giant bird. Okay, I might just say nothing here because I don't know what this is. Here's a little bit of easier one. Little cutie. Do you know crime pays but botany doesn't? I think we need someone with this sort of content but for animals. I don't. I'm going to write that in my notes. I'm going to write down the suggestions you guys have because I don't want to forget them. Diane Fossey, yes, that was her name. Okay. And then I'm also going to write down that book suggestion someone gave me. What do you think will do nature better? I think that means like helping nature, studying wolves or ungulates. Both of them. Wolves and people who study wolves and ungulates both really help, and they're both so wolves and ungulates are so inextricably linked together because ungulates are a prey animal for wolves that if you study ungulates, you're helping wolves. If you study wolves, you're helping, well, sort of helping ungulates too. Circle of life. So I think they both are really good choices. It's just what you're more interested in. I will say though, there's more opportunities available studying ungulates because more people want to study wolves. And ungulates are a hot topic in Canada. Caribou research is highly, highly funded right now. Okay. Oh, that's dark. I can't see. I don't think there's anything. I don't see anything there. That's just too small. Okay, here's an interesting one. I think what we're supposed to be looking... Okay, so there's a rabbit here. And then, is this an antler? What do you guys think? Do you think this looks like an antler? And a rabbit captured in the same camera trap, maybe? Or is this just like a stick that I'm getting confused? Would you ever study wildlife on other continents? I have. So like I studied wildlife in South America. That's it for work. Yeah, I've only ever gone to North America and South America. And it's really, really different. And I find like a lot of the skills transfer, but like your species ID, it's really overwhelming because you don't know any animals, but it's really fun to kind of just step into a new ecosystem and like see what it's like there. So definitely if I had the opportunity to go again, which I'm sure I will, like stuff comes up all the time internationally. So I'm trying to pick up more jobs like that. Okay, well, I think this is a bunny. And I don't know about the antler. Ungulates are my favorite clade to study. Their diversity amazes me. Yeah, I know. They're freaking cool. You're welcome, Glass Fox, for answering your questions. I'm glad that it makes you more interested. There was no one who answered these questions when I was in school. Like, I mean, you can't like DM Jane Goodall and have her answer your questions. So I'm just like spreading what I wish that people told me when I was in school. Looks like a stick. We're in North America now, so no jackalopes. So, okay, I'm just going to do a rabbit because that's the only one I can confirm. A bunny with antlers. How much difference are GMO plants from normal plants? I don't know that much about that stuff. That's not really my area of expertise. I'm very undecided about how I feel about that subject, so I don't have much like good scientific information on it, unfortunately. Okay, here's rabbit. One. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, what are we looking at here? That's a stick. That's a stick. I don't see any animals here. This flagging tape. Oh, you know, it's probably this flagging tape moving back and forth. That's happened to me so many times where my camera traps get set off because of the flagging tape. I have read The Elephant Whisperer. I actually own that book. It's in my bookshelf somewhere. It's a good one. I read that a long time ago. There's some really interesting books about animal behavior out there. Animal behavior is kind of an interesting field because a lot of people don't put a lot of stock into it, as in they don't believe a lot of it because it can be like less of a hard science because there's still so much that we don't know about animal behavior. And it's really hard to study it in a super, super scientific way when it's behavior. It's how animals, you know, interact with each other. So I really like reading a lot about animal behavior. All right. I'm going to have to go in like 10 minutes because I have to go go to the coffee shop to meet people from my channel and to do a beach cleanup. I don't know if anyone in the chat is coming. Probably not. I think I only am supposed to have like 5 people there. We're going to a cafe and then meet up, and then we're going to walk to YouTuber Levi Hillbrand's beach cleanup. So if anyone in this chat happens to be from Victoria, DM me on Instagram and come to this beach cleanup because it's going to be really fun. Okay, I don't see anything on here. Oh, and also I'm going to plug that I'm going to be live streaming again tonight at 5 o'clock PST, Pacific Standard. And so if you guys want to do double dose of live streams, you can later today. So I don't see anything here. Aw, more deer. We got 2. Oh, gosh, I don't see anything here. Do you have any tips on how to start going vegan? There's so many YouTube channels out there that people have like vegan recipes that are really good, and it all depends on the type of food that you like. Like there's some people who make like really cheap vegan food, like Cheap Lazy Vegan, and then there's some people who have like the healthier, like super plant-based food recipes like Ellen Fisher. So I would say just like start slow and think about like some meals that you would want to try to make vegan and just like try it out. Incorporating more veggies in always helps. And another tip I have is like a lot of people when they go vegan don't eat enough food because you can't take a sandwich that you normally have with like meat and cheese and then just like take the meat and cheese out and like eat it with just the lettuce and be satisfied. Like you have to create like big meals, like big bulky meals with like lots of veggies and fiber and protein to fill you up. So just make sure you eat enough food and try out some recipes and incorporate more veggies in, and that'll make you fuller and happier. Yeah, those are my suggestions. So I hope it helps. I also find like watching vegan YouTubers like really inspires me and kept me like going at the beginning when things were like a little bit harder because I saw like all the really good meals that they were eating, and then I got inspired to like make really colorful plates with like all sorts of different food too. But if you're more of like the I just don't like cooking side, there's a lot of like prepackaged vegan stuff you can try too. Like my boyfriend's not vegan, but he loves like the Beyond Burgers and stuff like that. So I mean, you know, it's a start. What are some wildlife biology books, novels you might recommend? I have a Goodreads list. Oh gosh. It's I have a YouTube video that's like science books. I can't remember the exact name. It's like science books that changed my life. So I recommend checking out my channel and looking at that video because then I link to my full Goodreads list with like a bunch of wildlife books. And those are like my favorite books. So if you have trouble finding that video, let me know and I'll link it to you. Spirulina is good for protein. I don't know how much protein is in spirulina, but that's really good for like just like micronutrients because it's like really, really powerful like sea veggies. That's super good for you. Don't worry too much about protein because as long as you eat enough, you'll probably be fine. But just like beans, tofu, lentils, even broccoli, like most stuff, if you eat it in bulk, like you'll get a lot of protein from it. And I think it was like 2 cups of lentils is like equivalent to the amount of protein in a steak. Like don't quote me on that. But like some of those like lentils and stuff have some seriously good protein. I take spirulina too. I put it in my smoothies. Always makes me just feel better and like more energetic and stuff. Well, I like this picture. It's a little bit close, a little bit of a close-up. Dear. Oh, here's a bit of a, aw, looks like a super fat raccoon. Is that right? What are our other options? No, it's not a possum. Yeah, I think that's just a super fat raccoon. Because you can see he has a little stripe under his eye. I don't know. Do you guys think it's something different? Can't see its tail. I think, though, it has the little white nose and the stripes, so I think it's a raccoon. 2 lentils? Okay, it's 2 cups of lentils, not 2 lentils. Okay, I'm going to put my Instagram again. At wild biologist. Oh, okay, sweet. Someone already put it. Thank you. I tried to figure out that like streaming thing that like you could put, you know, like when like PewDiePie and stuff streams, they have like all the like subscriber count and then like the links to social media all on the page. Like I can't figure out how to do that. Otherwise I would, and I could put like all my Instagram socials on there. What was your environmental compliance job like? I applied to an environmental compliance job involving pollution control and renewable resources. That one was like, I think I had a few environmental compliance ones, but my first job, I found it was a really good office job to do. I realized I wanted to be out in the field a bit more, so I didn't stay at that job too long. But if you're doing like pollution control, there could be some field work associated with that. So, but I found mine was like quite office based, and it requires a really in depth knowledge of like local regulations, which you can learn and like reference as you go on the job. But yeah, it's really regulations focused, but it can be satisfying to like hold polluters accountable to the pollution that they do. So it's satisfying in that way. Okay, so I think I'm gonna say this is a raccoon. Oh my god, okay, what's going on here? Are these all... What is that? Is that a... Oh my god, that's a rabbit! Oh, that's so funny. That's it jumping up and down. That is hilarious. Oh, I can't get enough of that. What course did you complete in undergrad and postgrad and PhD? Well, I haven't done my PhD, but my undergrad I did ecology. The full name of my degree was Environmental Systems, Ecology, Behavior, and Evolution. And that was at UCSD in San Diego. Rabbit. Oh gosh, what are we seeing here? Is there anything? This is such a busy scene. I can't even tell. I don't see anything. Do you guys see anything? I will say too, like one of the important things about setting camera traps when you guys eventually do this, if you do want to do this kind of work, is to make sure that you're setting it like, well, it depends on what your study goals, of course, are, but generally people set it like at a intersection of like wildlife trails or just along a wildlife trail or like at a kill site or something interesting if you're just trying to see what kind of animals are moving through the area. Yeah, and then you kind of have to adjust the sensitivity to make sure you aren't kind of catching, like this is kind of what it looks like. It looks just like some leaves are catching the sensitivity meter for the camera trap. So I think I'm just going to say nothing here. Okay, do we have anything here? I don't. Okay, so there's something at the bottom of the screen, but it looks like a little mouse. Do you see that? Right at the bottom of the screen? I think it's a mouse. I mean, there's not that much that's that small. I'm glad that I inspire you to reach your goals as a wildlife biologist. That definitely is why I do these kind of videos. Is like the people who say that like I inspired them to be a wildlife biologist is it's pretty incredible to hear that, because that's like that is like one other person who's going to be working towards helping animals. So it's like you can exponentially, like inspiring one person is going to inspire more people and more people, and then we're all going to care about animals, and it's just really cool to think about. I don't have any plans to visit India for studies or work, but I would love to go one day. So I'm not going to say never. I want to go see tigers. Maybe I'll get an opportunity. Oh, I don't see I don't think it. Oh, okay. I think. I thought that a deer's leg. I can't even tell. This is a bad photo. Oh, it is a deer. I just see the 2 little legs. Okay, we got something interesting here. Is that a deer? That does look like a deer. It has the body of like a cat. Like it's very thick, but it doesn't have a tail. Hmm. It's snowing really hard. You can even see in this camera trap. Any plans to stop people from stop pollution or over hunting? Like, do you mean like do I personally have any work jobs like that? What do you mean by that? I think that's a deer. It's kind of a tricky one though. Oh god, I never even thought about camera trapping in like super snow. Bye, Glass Fox. Thank you. Okay, there's no way I'm gonna be able to tell. I think that's a deer again, but that's like really tough. Not all these are coming out so well. This is really turning into a game of Where's Waldo. Yeah, tiger populations, I'm glad to hear they're recovering, but there's so much more to do. But yeah, it's good poaching is decreased. Poaching is just it's so infuriating, like to me. But poaching is a really hard subject. It's really hard to work in the poaching world because while some poachers, like the people who shoot like, Cecil the lion and stuff like that, can be just like infuriating because they're like privileged and pay a lot of money and have a lot of sway and stuff. But I subsistence hunters and people who poach to survive, I do have a little bit more sympathy for, because it's like if you I feel like I'm saying something controversial here, but there's a lot of human rights issues associated with poaching that I think need to be sorted out before we can really solve poaching as an issue completely. Yeah, there are more captive tigers in the US than there are in the wild. Isn't that crazy? Like, that blows my mind. I did a YouTube video that was like exotic animals as pets, where I share that fact, and it just boggles my mind why people want to have tigers as pets. Any plans to stop it, like your plans or coworkers? So I don't really work too much with hunting. All I work with is to make sure that people are following the law. So if people have valid permits, they can hunt. But my department does work with poaching a bit, but I do work a lot on pollution, actually. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing, but they're all like within my job. The best thing that you can do to help is to. That's a really good question. I mean, really, like, I think awareness is a big one. Like, standing up for, animals when you hear people who are, throwing trash everywhere, or like using plastic and dumping it like into non recyclable areas. So I think just like implementing the reduction of plastic in your own life can be a really good way of stopping pollution, and just looking at how to like live more sustainably can be some of the best options. And for over hunting, some of the best things you can do with that, I'm including fishing into that too, is making sure that you're either not buying animal products, or if you are, it's from a like ocean safe source. Is probably the best thing you can do there. Poaching with rhinos and elephants is decreasing in comparison to the poaching of hippos. Huh, that's interesting. Which poachers are now targeting as they are less protected. Yeah, it's a really sad topic. I wish I could say more. Wish I could do more about it. I saw a lot of animals being poached when I was in the Amazon. We used to do like anti-poaching patrols where we'd patrol our field site and look around for like signs of poachers so that we could report them. It was very eye-opening. Looks like we got another deer here. Do we have any other ungulates? No. Okay, guys, ask all the rest of the questions you have left in the next like 5 minutes because I'm going to be signing off soon. And then for the people who are around, and I don't know, what is it, less than 10 hours? Yeah, like 9 hours from now, I'm doing another live stream. So keep an eye out for that. And that one I can go longer because I will be sitting around bored in the evening, but I have to go do a beach cleanup. Sun is slowly coming out, so as long as it doesn't rain, I think our beach cleanup will be good. It's really hard to tell what that is. I just see a brown blob. I think our best guess again is deer. Oh, we got a lot of deer in this one. Aw, got ourselves a little squirrel. Okay. These are terrible example photos. I always get the red squirrels and the gray squirrels confused. I think it's a great one. Thank you, Brandon, for the $2. Again, that's so nice. So your question is, do you think we can stop climate change in time? We have 11 years until they're saying that climate change, the UN, I should say, that's my source, is the UN is saying we have 11 years to turn things around. So in 11 years, climate change is going to be reaching points where positive feedback loops are going to spiral things to a point that is going to cause some major destruction. So there's going to be coral bleaching because corals are impacted by only 1 degree's rise of ocean temperatures. Animals are going to be changing their habitat. Animals are going to be losing habitat. But we still do have time. So I want to say yes, I think we can stop it in time, because if the answer is no, that means that things are going to be really bad for us and the animals. So I'd like to think that this is kind of like the superhero story where you think till the very end like the superheroes are going to lose and the world's going to be destroyed by the bad guys, but then they all come around and then help save the planet. So I hope it is going to be like a story like that, but that's a really hard question to answer, and that's a really important one to talk about, I think. So thank you. Any perks into taking these few years and getting PhD and not just doing master's and bachelor's? So with a PhD in wildlife biology, the benefits you're going to get is if you want to work in academia and you want to do research, you pretty much have to get a PhD to rise up the ranks in academia. So if you want to do research, definitely get your PhD. If you want to go into industry, there's not that many benefits, except if you are in an extremely competitive field, as one example, you want to study one specific animal. Like say you want to be the world's leading expert in wolves, you're going to need a PhD there, because to be a world expert, you have to be at the top of the top. But if you want to do like what I do, you don't need to have a PhD. If in some ways, like a PhD with like no experience in industry can even hurt you. So that's kind of my suggestions. Think about where you want to go and like what kind of role you want to have, and then you can decide if you want to do your PhD or not. PhD is a big undertaking. I don't think I could do it. Niskis, hi, MSc in ecology here. Love your videos. Thank you. Is there any earning source if we are in the field of biology or conservation? Can we really rely upon for lifetime in our passion? If there are any, what courses do you have to pursue? I mean, like ecology and conservation jobs pay a huge difference in a range in salary. So most people are at least going to be able to survive with an ecology degree. If you're working in the nonprofit world and you're really working on like nonprofit conservation, then you're probably not going to make very much money, and that's just the reality, unfortunately. But if you are working in consulting, if you're working in research, you can make like a decent living. And if you are going up to management, you're running your own programs, like you're running your own conservation programs and putting a huge amount of responsibility and knowledge into things, you can definitely live comfortably. Like, I mean, I've shared my salary on my YouTube channel before. Like, I currently make like around $68,000 with like bonuses. Sometimes I can make like 70, but that is more than enough for me to survive. Like, I'm doing like quite well, and I'm very like happy with the amount that I make. Um, Especially like considering that I am able to help animals in my job, but not everyone makes the amount that I do. Like, especially in the US, I think people make a little bit less in Canada. But anyway, long story short, yeah, you can find a job, but it's a bit of a hustle sometimes. It really is, and it's busy. Like, it's really hard for me to find the time to make YouTube videos and do live streams like this and like answer people's DMs like when I'm working so much, but you can survive off of it for sure. Yeah, I agree with what you said. If you want to be taken seriously in the field of research, you have to get a PhD. That's the truth, and that's why I don't work in research. Okay, we'll do a few more here, and then I gotta go. Oh God, what do we have here? Looks like a squirrel. Okay, last questions. Okay, I don't see anything here, so I think I'm gonna leave it here. You have an undergraduate degree in forestry. What to do next? Yeah, maybe if you have no idea what path you want to go down, try doing some volunteer work maybe, or some internships, or try to get some experience and some exposure into the field. If you work at like consulting, you can be exposed to a lot of different things. So something like that could help decide what you want to really specialize in. So yeah. When do you think the next live stream is actually going to be tonight. So it's going to be at 5 p.m. today, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So look up what that is in your time zone. And if you don't want to look it up, just go to my channel page. You can click down below on my name, and it'll actually show you what time it is in your time zone. And then you can set a reminder. And I'll also post on Instagram when it's going to happen, like an hour before or something like that. And I don't have any plans to record the beach cleanup. I was like debating doing it, but Levi Hildbrand is vlogging it for his channel. So I'm actually gonna drop his the link to his channel in the chat because he makes some good content on like environmental content. His is more like the day-to-day life of like how you can like help reduce your plastic use and be like zero waste and stuff like that. So I'm going to drop his information in there, and he's going to be vlogging today's beach cleanup. I'm going to bring my camera just in case, but I'll probably be on his channel anyway. So I encourage you guys to check out his channel. I have a bunch of questions before we're ending. What do you think about doing research as a private business? Is it possible? You can fund your own research, but generally you need the backing of like a university or like some sort of like research organization to back you up. And then I think I want to work in wildlife conservation. How do the master's degree differ from a law degree? You don't need a law degree to work on policy. You can have a master's and work on policy. If you want to do like really in-depth policy analysis, like most policy teams have like 4 policy analysts and like 1 lawyer who can actually assess the policy that way. So you can do policy work with both the master's and the JD, but the JD is just a lot more education, then you get a lot more responsibility, and you're probably going to be making more money. Cool. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop it there. If you have any further questions, you can DM me on Instagram at wildbiologist, or you can leave a comment in one of my videos. I'm also going to record this if you want to replay it and include it on a playlist on my page that's called live streams. It'll be up in like 10 minutes or so. And if you guys are around at 5 p.m. PST tonight, I'll be doing another live stream, so you can join in later tonight or whatever time it is in your time zone. So thank you guys for tuning in and helping me identify some wildlife, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!